Welcome to Sound Off with System 1. I'm your host, Brooke Servin, and I'm here today with our panel of experts to discuss how to get a job post-grad. But before we get started, here are a few words about System 1. System 1 is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors, putting more than 650 employees and 9,000 contractors to work in the United States, Canada, and the UK. As you're tuning in today, please join us in the comments. Our marketing team will be monitoring them. So let us know where you're joining from and what industries you work in or are looking to work in, and if you have any questions relevant to today's topic. First, I'd like to introduce our panel of experts, and to view any System 1 jobs, scan that QR code or head to jobs.system1.com. And Owen, can you start off our intros?
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Owen Nini, a business development manager with System 1. Been here close to 6 years, specialize in engineering and manufacturing recruitment.
Hello, my name is Megan Sachs. I'm a senior recruiter with Jolet here in Edison, New Jersey. I've been with the company for almost 6 years, and I specialize in the scientific and clinical industry. My hot job today is a laboratory technician located in Princeton, New Jersey, so any fresh out chemists, feel free to apply.
Hello, my name is Bianca. I am a recruitment manager here in Houston for System 1, and I specialize in engineering and operations. And right now, my hot job is a mechanical engineer in North Houston, specializing in SolidWorks and preferably coming from an oil and gas industry. So.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here today, and anyone joining us in the comments, you can find all of those jobs at the QR code or in the comments. And let's jump into our first question. So how has the job market changed for new grads over the past few years? Bianca, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think that the concentration has focused more towards skill set rather than just the actual degree itself. I feel like a lot of the times students are coming from multiple different backgrounds with different degrees, and now employers are more focused on the specific skill sets and what you bring to the table, as well as soft skills. I think also an emphasis on your LinkedIn profile has been more of a concentration now.
Yeah, and I would say the biggest change is just the number of avenues available to find a job for these entry-level candidates, which in turn increases their leverage, gives them the opportunity to find the right job quickly that they didn't have maybe 10 years ago even.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think job opportunities have expanded in certain sectors, in many industries, but I still feel like there's a significant amount of competition for positions, especially those that offer higher salaries or prestige companies. And I feel like graduates are like increasingly finding that internships and volunteer work and relevant experience are definitely crucial for landing a full-time role right out of college.
Yeah, I want to touch on something Owen said about lots of avenues available. I think that is something that is super important to keep in mind. While a lot of people think that there's just one path to get to your goals, there's so many different paths you can take to accomplish your goals. So don't close yourself off and be open to exploring different opportunities that can still get you to where you want to be. With that said, how about mistakes? What are the biggest mistakes you see recent grads make when job searching? And Megan, start us off.
I'd say one mistake we see with recent grads, or just people in general, is just people submitting generic resumes or applications and one-size-fits-all resumes or cover letters. I definitely think tailoring your resume or cover letter shows enthusiasm and that you're not just clicking apply to everything that comes across. It definitely shows that you're interested in the position and the company as well.
Yeah, and I think that I'd like to touch on that as well with LinkedIn. I think that one of the biggest mistakes is just not utilizing it enough. I feel like the type of trajectory that the market has moved in has been more catered towards LinkedIn. And so I think just making sure your profile is up to date, putting as many details as you can to support your experience and skill set, connecting with as many people as you possibly can would make a huge impact.
Yeah, and I'm speaking in generalities here, but I think just not having well calibrated expectations with respect to what you can provide a company and what a company can provide you in an employment relationship. It's a big mistake. It just doesn't lead to necessarily the right outcomes for entry level employment. It's difficult. There's just a big disconnect.
Yeah, that all makes sense. For those watching who've been putting it off, now is the time. Update your LinkedIn profile and tailor those resumes. And on that note, how important is it to tailor your resume and cover letter for each role? And what should grads focus on if they have little to no experience? And Owen, let's start with you.
Sure. What new grads should focus on is any work experience or anything possible to display work ethic. We can say aptitude, but a degree generally covers that, on a resume. But anything to display work ethic and just something that would separate you from the 20, 30, 100 other people that may be applying. It's a huge help.
Yeah, I think that focusing on any sort of internships or school projects that you've had experience on, even extracurricular activities, clubs, sports, things like that, that would speak levels to your personality and to who you are as an employee, I think would be beneficial for your resume for sure.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of both of that, it's definitely great to show any relevant coursework that you have that might be related to your field of study or the job that you're applying to, especially if you have no experience. I mean, anything is definitely better than nothing.
Yeah, excellent. What I'm hearing is do your research in the industry you're applying to, and hiring managers know that if you're coming right out of college, you may have limited experience. So really focus on those soft skills and show how you can be a good employee overall. Moving on, what are hiring managers really looking for in entry-level candidates today? Bianca, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that they look for that ambition and drive and eagerness and willingness to learn. In your first job, it's going to be a huge learning curve. So if you just show up and you're present and you're willing to learn and to put in the work, I think that that's going to, bring you very far in life, as well as having people skills. It's very important to be able to communicate and to connect with multiple people. So that's definitely important as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I also believe hiring managers look for strong communication skills, adaptability, and willingness to learn. Someone who has strong work ethic, and they definitely want someone who can mold to their company culture. So someone who just kind of goes with the flow, but also brings in their own personality and their own hard work to the team. But they're definitely looking for someone to fit into their company culture.
Sure. And I think it boils down to three things. Number one, reliability. Employers do tend to like people who show up on time every day and do their job. They want that. Number two, they want aptitude. They want somebody who can take on a certain job or has a certain set of skills. And then number three, and this might be the most important, they're looking for somebody with a growth mindset. This may be the only employment situation where they're not hiring you for what you are currently. They're hiring you for what they think you can be in 5 years, 2 years, whatever that may be. It's the only time when you're going to encounter that situation in your career.
Yeah, those are all super important. Again, emphasis on those soft skills. Also, a reminder to everyone tuning in, if you have any questions you want answered directly by our expert panel, feel free to drop them in the comments. Moving on, how about unpaid internships or temporary contract roles? Are those worth considering to get a foot in the door? And Megan, take the lead.
Yeah, I absolutely think they're worth considering to get a foot in the door. I mean, I know unpaid internships aren't always ideal for your situation, but nowadays you definitely see a lot of companies looking at your experience. Sometimes experience does triumph your education. So if anything you could grab, whether it's an internship or a contract role, it's definitely worth putting on your resume.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it can be very difficult depending on your situation. I know that, we're all juggling a lot of things, and some of us already have jobs and things like that aside from that. So even if you can just squeeze in a month or two during summer when you're not busy with schoolwork, I think that it'd be very beneficial for you for sure.
Oh, yeah. And anything that gets you time in a room with a decision maker or a manager to show off your skills, your work ethic, all of that's value add. So all of it should be considered, and ultimately taken if need be.
Great. So largely yes, but all about what is right for you. I like it. Now going on to specific skills. What technical or soft skills are most in demand for entry-level roles right now? And Owen, back to you.
Sure. I'll start with what I talked about a couple questions ago. It's reliability, the top soft skill, especially for entry level folks. I spend a lot of time in my new job speaking with managers, and it's in their estimation the number one weakness of people coming into the workforce. They just don't know what consistent 8 to 10, 12-hour days look like, building it into a schedule. It's very much lacking. It really is. So it's a way people can shine.
Yeah, I agree. Soft skills are definitely important. Communication, adaptability, all of that. But also, I believe technical savviness and digital literacy are important. Technology is always advancing and changing. So if you're able to keep up with that and hiring managers can see that and they know that you're adaptable to the work environment, that's definitely what they're looking for.
Yeah, I agree with all of the above. I think that, you might get experience in college with certain different technical skills and applications. Definitely Excel, Microsoft Office is a huge one. And anything that you're able to really get your hands on, even if it was just for a brief moment, you can definitely put that on your resume. Shows that you at least have some familiarity with it. And I also think to touch on the soft skills, we've already previously said this, but just communication, that teamwork, adaptability, it would be very helpful for sure.
Perfect. I want to expand on Bianca's point. Whatever industry you're looking in, make sure you're aware of those tools and those programs. Just like she said, if you can take a little bit of time to just familiarize yourself with what they're already using in that industry, that can give you a big leg up on the competition. Love it. So we do have an audience question. Thank you so much. How important is networking, and what are some practical ways for new graduates to build their professional network? Thank you, Allie, for that question. Who wants to jump in?
Sure, I'll jump in. The answer to me is somewhat obvious. I mean, it is absolutely essential. It's everything when it comes to getting a job. Your network, as they say, as cheesy as it is, your network is your net worth. Very much so, especially when you're starting off. It's really good to get to know people who can help you along in your career, who have done what you're looking to do. It's basically everything. Practical ways. You can start with family and friends. You can expand to LinkedIn. Obviously, it's a huge asset. Facebook, whatever social media you have. I'm sure the hiring managers have it too. Set up a call with them. Do what you can. Just try to get in front of them. Learn from them.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think LinkedIn, it makes it so easy for you to network nowadays. I mean, there's so many groups you could join, just following companies that interest you, reaching out to recruiters or anything and what you're looking to do. LinkedIn makes it so easy for you nowadays. I would just connect with anyone that seems relevant to you and spark up a conversation. You never really know where it could lead.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, just don't be afraid to reach out, send a message here and there. You never know what door could open. I also was thinking even career fairs are great as well because you have a whole bunch of different companies at your feet. So I think it would be great for you to go and just like chat to different companies and, find what interests you. And then who knows, they might be able to recommend somebody else if, so on and so on. So definitely utilize as many tools around you as possible.
Yep, love it. Don't be afraid to reach out. If a grad has been searching for months with no luck, what would you tell them to change or consider? And Bianca, what is your advice?
Yeah, so I think that definitely utilize a recruiter. That's what we're here for. I think oftentimes people don't realize that we can also give advice and help tailor resumes and kind of show you what to look for and at least kind of just point you in the right direction. So definitely utilize your recruiters for a help and just take any opportunity. You never know who can really just lead you to that next step.
Yeah, I would also advise reassess your resume, your cover letter, make sure you're tailoring it to each specific job, like I mentioned before. I'd also recommend considering the contract, the part-time, or the freelance work to gain experience and hopefully get your foot in the door somewhere else.
Sure. I'll piggyback off of that. I would say not only partner with a recruiter, but partner with a System 1 recruiter. We can help get you the right job, get you in front of the right people. There's an old saying of nothing changes if nothing changes. If you're going months and months without getting the results you want, reevaluate every part of the process and change it if need be.
Yeah, I really like that. Really take a look at what you've been doing and be honest with yourself. Like, have you actually been giving 100% to each application? Or are you just kind of going through the steps and apply? So I like that. Let's take a look at another viewer question. Let's see if I can read it. After cold emailing recruiters shortly after a job is posted, we often receive a very few or no responses. Does following up 2 or 3 times improve the chance of getting a response? What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
I can jump in.
Oh, go ahead.
Sure. My answer is no. It does not improve your chance. Typically, one follow-up can be sufficient. It's the best way to level with people. A lot of agency recruiters work for commission. We get paid to fill the job. If you're a fit for the job, you're likely to get a call. It's our job to be proactive about it. So, sending somebody like one of us 3 emails, one would suffice. It'll get our attention. The same thing with internal recruiters. They're judged by the number of positions they fill as well. It's, everybody's incentivized to fill the job. So one will work.
I think that it wouldn't hurt though to send another one just because your inbox typically is getting filled every day with so many emails. I mean, I know mine is, so there's definitely some that tend to get pushed down. And I do appreciate when somebody is a little bit more persistent and does send me. That's just my personal opinion though. It kind of just gives me that extra nudge, like, oh my gosh, I haven't reached out to so-and-so. Let me give her a call. So yeah, definitely, I guess just depending on who you are and each recruiter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's about finding that balance there. I think definitely follow up right away and make it pertinent to the position and something that will help out the recruiter, but also don't maybe email them every day or every hour. Like if you haven't heard back in a week, I think it's fine. Like reach back out, just be like, hey, just following up to make sure you saw this. But if it's incessant, that's a little too much. All right, how can grads showcase their skills if they've only had internships, part-time jobs, or school projects? And Megan, how do you handle this one?
This just all goes back to like tailoring your resume to specific roles. Definitely building a portfolio or digital presence. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. So having your LinkedIn represent what you've done in the past, having people add comments on your LinkedIn profile is also nice. It's almost like a reference at that point. So anything that could help.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that as well. And also, previously stated, lean on those clubs and extracurriculars and sports and anything that you're doing that you might not even think is going to help your career search. It really does. I feel like it showcases just who you are as an individual and how you work with others. So definitely lean on that for sure.
Yeah, I would say when finding a job, you're in the business of selling yourself. So when you're in sales, what you need to do, you need to find your own competitive advantage where you exceed what the rest of the marketplace will offer. The next step is to get that competitive advantage in front of as wide of an audience as possible. Just go until you get the answer you need.
All right. So ultimately, it's in the way you present those experiences, right? If you're confident and express how those experiences have set you up, it's just as valuable as having hands-on experience. Lovely. All right. Let's look for one more question. What is one underrated tip or trick that can give grads a real edge in the job search? Owen, let's start with you.
Sure. I would say find someone in your target industry who has the things you want to have, who's achieved the success you want to achieve, and follow their lead. Really get some real advice from them. They've been in your shoes before. They've gone past where your shoes have gotten you before. It's, they've really lived the life. And take their advice very seriously. That's also a very important part.
Yeah, I agree. I also think we've emphasized this a lot, but your network is so important. Start with your close circle, your friends, your family, ask your parents who they know, who their friends know, and just keep branching out, and then do your own work on LinkedIn and get out there, send some messages, send a message to a VP of a company that you're interested in working for. Like, you just never know. That could be a quicker response for you than going through the applications through the online system and then filtering that out, so on. So definitely don't be afraid. If the worst case scenario, they're just going to say no, but you just keep moving on.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to this developing a strong LinkedIn presence, optimizing your profile, engaging with relevant content, commenting on posts or threads that are relevant to what you're looking for. People do see that and you do stand out. Network with industry professionals. Like I said before, join any groups that are relevant. Just put yourself out there.
Love it. So making sure you have an updated LinkedIn and network, network, network. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. The worst they can say is no, and then you're on to the next. No harm done. All right, we are out of time for today. Thank you so much to our panel. Thank you to everyone that commented and joined. If we didn't answer your question live, we will do our best to answer them all in the comments. And don't forget to follow System 1 on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube for all past Sound Off episodes. And make sure you tune in every first and third Friday of the month, as we will have new episodes. Our next episode is Friday, April 18th, and it will be a live Q&A. See you there.